Which is the better space company? Is it Virgin Orbit or is it Virgin Galactic? They are very similar in market cap. The launch per flight is less revenue than a rocket launch for Virgin Orbit. Why then I invest in space? So welcome to another vlog where we decide which is the better space company. Is it Virgin Orbit or is it Virgin Galactic? What many people didn't know is that once upon a time in the very beginning, this was actually one company. Yes, it had these divisions. Virgin Orbit with this new technology to go with the cosmic girl, prepared, customized Boeing, and go higher and then drop the rocket. Then the rocket goes to launch satellites. And the Virgin Galactic, a very special spaceship that goes there by a special rocket thrust and then, dive into weightlessness and then goes back to Earth like a feather and glide flight back to the spaceport. Okay, so and many people ask me, is maybe Virgin Orbit after the recent space stock crash the better option? So we will dive into everything in this video. Okay, we will dive into the revenues, the launches, the future, the outlook. We will talk about the stock performance as well, so stay tuned till the end. But before that, I would like to emphasize to check out the link in the description. I created a product where I take you by the hand to learn day trading in this very special strategy that I use to turn $2,000 into $20,000 in 1 month, okay? And I did it twice just to prove that it's really working. And now I'm teaching that in a course that you learn in a 1 day period. You are basically getting inside the group where you see all the signals. I'm saying when I'm buying something and when I'm selling, so you can do exactly the same and to learn and so on. So it's fantastic, and we are just limited to 4 more people, so check it out. It's $697, but really worth it because it can change your life. Here's the trailer. Let me introduce you to my brand new product, X10 Day Trading. Basically, you are sick and tired of your 9-to-5 jobs like I was, then this is for you. Or you just want to get a little bit of money on the side, a couple of $1,000s per month with day trading, where you don't need to know technical analysis and where you watch only 10 videos to know the strategy that I used to 10x $2,000. Yes, in 1 month, and I did it twice. And let me tell you what comes with it: a 30-minute call with me, plus an exclusive group that is coming only with this purchase, plus a second 30-minute call with me a couple of weeks later to see if you're going. So I'm holding your hand, but obviously it's time limited, so 50 people maximum. Get in if you want right now. So let's dive into the stock of space real quick, just to show you where people lost the faith in space. So we, 2019 entered the stock market. Then we slowly but surely raised to about $20, $27, $30. And then we had the huge increase in the beginning of 2021, where we had even a stock price of 60, which was unbelievable times, okay? Then we had the delay, and basically the stock went up to even 17, and then another test flight and the Richard Branson flight and so on in the summer. So the stock went again to 54, and since then we went down because the hype went away, the overall stock market went down, anticipation and the things that happened afterward, like stock sales, like raising of capital, was well received by the shareholders. So we reached a temporary low of $6.70, and now currently we are trading at around $10 for this stock. And I believe that we will see this year a triple amount of this $10, maybe like somewhere around $20 to $30, and the market cap currently at $2.6 billion. Now let's look into Virgin Orbit. Okay, it has the stock symbol VORB, Virgin Orbit Holdings. And here you see it was for a long time like a SPAC that waited for the merger, And then if you are looking into the year-to-date performance, which is important because in the beginning of January we had actually all-time highs for the stock at around $11, and then from there we lost money. So whenever you bought it in the beginning, we are definitely below the price of the spec, and which is also considered that the company is losing money. There is the overall spec appetite is gone that were there 2 years ago. Growth stocks are not doing well in this kind of environment, and so on and so forth. So you see here both are quite pressured. Virgin Galactic had up and downs, tremendous up and downs, and Virgin Orbit just getting started. About 30% of its spec price is down, but the market cap is around 2.37. So they are very similar in market cap. Let's look what Virgin Orbit is doing in terms of revenue. So in terms of revenue, we need to consider that both companies still putting up their operations, okay? So it's more about like reservations, future revenue, how much money they can lose and how much money they can afford to lose, okay? So let's start with Virgin Orbit. They boosted their backlog with 500% increase. What does it mean? We will talk about it. I will not go into details. I will just go into details of the numbers, okay? Here we go. Revenue grow compared to 2020, 95%, which is first look a great number, but considering that the revenue was only 3.8 million% up compared to the previous year, you see those numbers of revenue are pretty much the same. Revenue of Virgin Galactic was also around 3.5 million dollars due to some research flights and so on. So you can see here from the revenue, Virgin Orbit has actually doubled the revenue in last year, okay? More than double than Virgin Galactic. The net loss for the full year was $160 million, right? Compared to the net loss of 120 million. This usually happens when you see the costs are, obviously getting higher as soon as operations start. So that's a usual thing. In comparison to Virgin Galactic, we lose about 60 million. So it's a little bit more, almost double that Virgin Orbit is losing. So here you see is one big difference. So half the revenue so far, even in this period, double the loss. Well, not double, but let's say 60 million loss per quarter, which means like 240 compared to 160. So maybe a third more exactly, and then you would be there. So 1/3 more of loss Virgin Galactic has compared to Virgin Orbit. So less revenue so far and more losses, okay? So keep on that in mind. Then what is important is that the backlog, okay? The backlog here is 575 million, including binding and not binding contracts. Now, I don't really see that this is better or worse with the binding and non-binding, because actually I know that currently the non-binding agreements with Virgin Galactic astronauts are there, right? So, but there's so much demand that even if you take out some people, there will be other people that will fill those spots. So I think this is similar with Virgin Orbit. So I will just look into the overall market, okay? So here you see they have like almost $600 million in backlog. And now let's do the calculation, okay? Let's do the calculation and see what Virgin Galactic has. Let's say they have currently about 500 astronauts from the previous program for 250,000, okay? I think this will be the case that they will fly those people for 250,000, which would mean that they have a backlog of 125 million. Then you also need to add the new 100 people that will pay a price of 450,000, which adds another of 45,000. So you are somewhere at around 170 million backlog, okay? So in terms of backlog, we are much bigger, so almost triple or even 4 times the backlog that Virgin Galactic has. So all of those is really giving a huge point. So if you would have like a scoreboard, it would be like 3-0 for Virgin Orbit. Okay, so I think this is something very, very interesting. Okay, now let's come to the interesting part where Virgin Galactic beats Virgin Orbit actually, because here they talk about the launches. Okay, so he say that they want to have a rate of launches between 4 and 6 launches, okay, towards, you know, a normal operation year, which you can count like the next year, 2023. In 2023, Virgin Galactic will be easily do about, you know, I would say 20 launches, okay? So now we do the math. Okay, let's do the following. In a regular perspective, you have 6 launches with Virgin Orbit. Okay, so this means 6 times 12 million, because this is the price per launch for Virgin Orbit. You have $72 million. Okay, now we are calculating 4 persons times 450,000 times 20 launches. And you see that also here, when you think like, even though we have bigger launches, the turnover of the launches of Virgin Orbit is more than Virgin Galactic. Okay, so this is the point where, you know, you first says, wow, you know, Virgin Galactic makes much more launches, but actually, you know, the issue is that the launch per flight is less revenue than a rocket launch for Virgin Orbit. Okay, so with that said, you actually have a lot of opportunities here with Virgin Orbit that from the number wise, you have much more, you know, revenue for Virgin Orbit in the next couple of years. Okay, so with that said, let's dive into the next topic. So now you might ask, what's about the operation and the future, and why then I invest in space? Well, there's one significant difference between those two companies. If you think about satellite launch companies, they are coming more and more there, because you build a rocket that, you know, is more easier than it was ever done, and you then bring people to, you know, try to reuse them to, you know, get as much as possible out of that. And, you know, that's what many companies are doing out there, right? If I'm just putting that into Wikipedia, you see how many launch vehicle manufacturers and providers of third-party services there are in the whole world. Okay, so here, for example, is a list. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Well, Virgin Galactic is not a satellite company, so 22, 24. So around like 20 companies, let's say, okay, in general. 20 companies are competing for the same thing like Virgin Orbit. Same customers or similar customers, the same methods, and so on and so forth. So it's a much harder market than being in the space tourism business, where there's only 3 companies, while Blue Origin has a tremendously higher price, and this is not was not intended. And SpaceX is really, you know, looking to do much bigger things than just putting people into space and bring them back, right? So you actually has a kind of monopoly. So that means that every piece of revenue is actually much more worth, because there's no many companies competing, there's not demand crunch, there is no lot of price power, there's a lot of profit, and so on. Let me quickly Google if I find this, and my guess would be that the profit margin of Virgin Orbit is actually much smaller. And here actually it is. So I just checked a presentation from August of last year, and here you can see the gross profit margin is around 30, 41, 47, 53, okay? While Virgin Galactic has almost the double of the profit margin. There was for sure one reason why Shamas took Virgin Galactic over Virgin Orbit. Think about it. He could have for sure the opportunity to take also Virgin Orbit public, but he chose not to and went with Virgin Galactic. So I think like this is really interesting, and this is very important to know. And now let's dive into some fundamentals of Virgin Orbit. So I actually wanted to go into the financials with you for Virgin Orbit for concluding this vlog and showing you something where Virgin Galactic is also a little bit more established. As we know, we have a approximately run rate of 2 years for Virgin Galactic because they did a lot of money raising. They are in ready to operation and in the end of the year, and having a really stable position. Now you remember that we did around about $160 million loss in last year. Okay, so here we go. You can find that obviously here in the EBITDA, somewhere around 157 million negative, the EBIT and the EBITDA. And then basically you see that if what is important for me is actually the balance sheet to see, okay, what about the working capital? Okay, so really the available money in cash and other net assets to finance the whole operation. And as you can see, we have only 190 million. That means that one more year and the company is actually having not money anymore. Okay, which means that we are needing a lot of capital raise for this company starting this year. Okay, sometime in this year they need to raise some capital. Also here you can see operating cash flow is around 153 million that they use every year, and they have around 194 million dollars in cash in the bank. So I think that this is very interesting and necessary to know, because this means that Virgin Galactic is financially more stable than Virgin Orbit. Okay, and we don't know when they rise, but they need to rise, and I highly recommend to all of those shareholders to be also ready for volatility, because it will be the same game plan. Okay, they will make a launch and they will raise money afterwards, which can tank the stock like we have seen in the matters of Virgin Galactic as well. But for me, because of the monopoly, because of the nature of business, I really like both companies. I think both companies have the potential with the branding, with all what they do, to become really a multiple valuable what they are doing. And if I would have more money, I would also invest into Virgin Orbit. But for me, the better space company, because it's just such a monopoly, because it's just such a marketing machine that also will benefit the stock, is actually Virgin Galactic.